Recently, the University of Houston has been in the news. Tier 1 status, a triumphant football season, Pulitzer Prize winning faculty. But what about our place in the community? Did you know the university has awarded nearly 250,000 college degrees? UH students contribute more than 1 million hours a year in volunteer services and internships in and around the Houston community, and that the UH system generates more than $3 billion a year in total economic benefit to our region. Tonight, a look inside the University of Houston. I'm Ernie Manous, and this is Houston 8. Started in 1927 as a junior college, today the University of Houston is the third largest university in Texas. In 1934, HISD's Board of Education adopted a resolution to turn U of H into a four-year institution. In 1945, Senate Bill 207 removed control of the university from HISD and granted them their own Board of Regents. During the 1950s, U of H was the second largest university in Texas and the fastest growing in the United States. But the university also faced financial troubles when tuition failed to cover rising costs, and adjustments to fix that ended up causing a drop in enrollment. During the early 1960s, the Texas Senate made the university a state institution, helping the university to stabilize for the future. The 1970s saw the birth of the University of Houston system, with U of H as its flagship institution. In the late 90s, the university system and the University of Houston administrations came under the leadership of a single individual, when Arthur K. Smith became both UH system chancellor and University of Houston president. On November 3, 2009, voters across the state of Texas approved a constitutional amendment that allowed U of H access to state funds in their quest to achieve Tier 1 status as a national research university. Joining us tonight is Dr. Renu Khator, Chancellor of the UH System and President of the University of Houston. Welcome.
Thank you.
So it's been 2 years now, a little over 2 years you've been with us.
Definitely, yes.
It feels like it? Has it flown by?
Oh yeah, his time has absolutely flown by. I've had absolute fun, and I just feel really blessed, and as blessed today as I did when I came in here in January of 2008.
Now, when I say, and I've said it in the open, I did it again now, I say we. For those who don't know, University of Houston does own Channel 8. We are under, the license is held by the university.
Exactly.
So we're all one big happy family here.
We sure are, and we're very proud to have you in the family.
Well, we're very happy to be here, but what we really want to find out about, and all of this was in the news, Tier 1 status. It got voted on. The voters of Texas gave it the okay to move forward. What does it mean to us as a university here?
Well, it means a lot to the university, but it means even lot more to the city of Houston and to the state of Texas. If you look at other cities such as LA, Chicago, and New York, the top three cities in the nation, they all have several Tier 1 universities, public and private. And together these universities bring in at least $1 billion worth of federal funds. So we are really leaving money at the table by not having the kinds of universities that can play in that competitive arena. So I think it means a lot to the city, but as for the university, it means a lot to our alumni, whose degree will have a lot more value. It means more to students whose educational experience will have the brand of a Tier 1 educational experience. It means a lot for us to be able to recruit the top talent in terms of the faculty and the staff to come out here and be part of this exciting university.
When you talk about the title of Tier 1 or having that name put upon us, I think some people think of it as a city that has the world's largest building or one of these kind of like bragging rights, but that it doesn't really mean a lot to man and woman on the street.
Well, that's actually not true. Bragging rights, as long as they have substance behind it, they're worth a lot more. And I think it's all about substance here. So, first of all, the Tier 1 is something, it's just a name. It's a symbol. In all honesty, it is pursuit of excellence. It is trying to be a nationally competitive university, both in terms of research and also in terms of the student experience here. And when you are nationally competitive, you are known nationally, you're known globally, your product is known nationally and globally. So for instance, if you have University of Houston degree and you were to take a job in, let's say, Philadelphia, and your employer shouldn't have to say, where did you graduate from? University of Houston? Tell me more about it. I want them to know already what the University of Houston is and how good it is and what's the quality of it. Those who are in the academic circle, they already know how good it is because our programs and our faculty are absolutely tier 1. I think all we need to do is make sure we tell our story, but at the same time, we fill the gap in competitiveness where we have currently so that we can be in that top tier group no matter which national organization tiers them.
Okay, take us back to how this whole thing began, because as we even said, we started off as a city university in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. We were a local school.
Right.
Still, people refer to it as Cougar High. It's got that reputation. How did it come to the point that we felt this is the institution that should be moved this way forward, and what did you bring to the table to do this?
Well, local and global, today's economy and today's society, technology has really merged the two things. We still are a university of the city. We are a metropolitan university, and I take pride in it, and we cherish that. We still will be a university for the city of Houston, and we will be a university for this region. But at the same time, I want to make sure that even when local people come to the University of Houston, their educational experience, their skill set should have the brand and should have the approval and should be known as being globally recognized and nationally competitive. We continue to be a university that serves the local region, however, its quality is known nationally in many, many areas. For instance, our entrepreneurship program in the Bauer College, it's already ranked in the country either in number 1 or number 2. Our hotel restaurant management, optometry, all of them are ranked number 1 or number 2, depending on which year we talk about. Our health law, intellectual property in the law center are ranked number 1 in the nation. Psychology is number 5 in the nation in terms of bringing federal funds. Our social work is ranked number 36. I could go on and give you many examples, including creative writing. So the point is, there are several programs that are already nationally ranked. And all we want to do is, we want to make sure that overall quality and branding and the reputation of our undergraduate experience also stands in the same category. Our faculty are tier 1 faculty. I can put them against any faculty. They come from tier 1 schools because they know the kinds of colleagues they're going to have here. I think all I'm trying to say is that the University of Houston for many years is at the cusp of really solidly taking its place among the best in the nation. Mm-hmm. If we can focus, if we can fill some of the areas where we need to, I think we will be there.
I would assume most presidents of most universities across the country all want what's best for their schools, all want this kind of recognition. What do we do here then to get there?
I think all presidents want to take their university to the next level of excellence. It just so happens for us where we are, our next level of excellence is tier 1, being a nationally competitive university. What we need to do is we need to see where the strengths of the region are. Because I believe very strongly no university becomes great or tier 1 by itself. It's the community that builds a university, which means the university has to be in total sync with the community. So we looked at where our regional strengths are. They are in the area of energy. They are in the areas of healthcare, because we are sitting in Houston here. Also the arts. I want to take our strengths in the University of Houston, synchronize and get them in sync with the strengths that exist in the region, and build from there the absolute centers for excellence that will be known nationally and known globally, and they'll attract talent to come here.
So how do you do that, though?
Great point. I call it our challenge in the research area. I call it our $100 million challenge. Our research was $110 million last year. About $10 million of that was from stimulus funding, but $100 million of federal funds were brought in by the faculty through competitive grants and contracts processes. We need to double that amount. And in order to double that amount, we can either go traditional way, which is slow, which might take 25, 30 years, and I'm an impatient person, so we're going to do it faster. And we are doing 5 mega cluster recruiting. Each of those mega cluster capable of bringing $15 to $20 million of additional research support here. 3 will come in energy, 2 in healthcare, because those are our strengths of the region. We have already recruited 2. We've recruited, my first year, we recruited 1 in healthcare, Professor Janake Gustafsson, who came here, world's the known authority in prostate breast cancer research and nuclear receptor cell signaling. And his center now has 40 people. It was literally what I call an acquisition. We brought in the entire group here, stock and barrel, and he has assembled the top talent around, and he's working with the institutions within Houston to really create synergy.
What people need to remember is when the money comes in, the money disperses in our community.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
This money is staying for us here.
The money, when it comes in here to do research, every single dollar creates $18 worth of economic impact in the region. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to do that. So we're going to do it by doing mega clustering, 5 of those in energy and healthcare, as well as we're developing energy research park. And that's where we are going to do it'll develop as an incubator for the most cutting edge energy research. Subsurface biofuels, but alternative energy, bringing in the private sector, public sector, as well as the academia in it. So I think it has a huge implication for the region and for the community in terms of jobs, in terms of new companies coming along, and in terms of in general training and education that will prepare a better workforce.
How do you do all of that when we're facing the economic times that we're in right now? When you hear that the state is saying all state organizations need to cut their budgets, everyone needs to tighten the belt, how do you grow?
Well, every time you have to see what are the assets that you have. And those are not just your assets, but assets of the community, assets of the region, assets of the state. And when you build in partnership and when you focus on it and you try to see what are the functions that are mission critical to the university, and we'll have to tighten our belt, which we are in the process of doing, and we'll be taking some very tough measures. But when the goal is clear, and when you know your assets, and when you're willing to partner, I think everything is possible. Best of the universities have been built in worst of the times. So it is not a deterrence. I think all it is a call to get more focused, more strategic, build more partnership, and work with the community.
Now, when you were over at your last position, University of South Florida, you were known as being very good at raising funds. You did a very good job there, set records, you came to us. What is the key, especially in this economic times, and I don't know if you want to give away all your secrets, but what is the key to raising money in this time? How do you ensure confidence in the folks that you talk to let them know their money is not just going to disappear?
I think it's an excellent question, and I must thank the community here because in last 2 years, even though we have had really bad economic times, our fundraising here has been very, very good. I mean, we have had an increase of 27% in the last 2 years, not decline. 4 years ago, University of Houston was bringing about $39, $40 million a year. Last 2 years, we have brought in $75 to $85 million to the university. And my secret, which is not a secret, is basically people invest in vision. They do not invest in whining. If we have a vision that is strong enough, if we have a product that is good enough, I know the community in Houston, their heart. I mean, this is Texas. People have everything big hearts also. I know they will invest in that vision and they'll come and support. I have seen that in the last 2 years, and I see no reason why that would not continue to happen for us.
What was it about the University of Houston that brought you here?
Its mission, its place. Mission in terms of Metropolitan University. I believe very strongly about public access to higher education. I believe very strongly about university to be a place of opportunity. That was important to me, but location was extremely important. Houston is a great place in terms of diversity, in terms of its place in the global setting, which sometimes we forget. But the fact is we are a very global city. We have sectors here that are already identified: energy and healthcare. NASA has been a big sector here. There are so many universities who would die to be in our shoes here. I think we are very blessed, very lucky to be in a community that rewards success, that encourages new ideas and innovation. I think if any university has the potential to really go, I think, the farthest, I think it is the University of Houston. And therefore, I try to tell people, just keep looking back, because you're going to see just the dirt and dust behind, because we are moving so fast.
Okay, let's talk some student stuff now.
Okay,
all of these dreams, all of this growth, and also what's being talked about is a hike in tuition.
Mm-hmm.
How do we explain that to the students that are just trying to get by at this point?
Excellent question there. When we have talk about Tier 1, let me just say, we can never get credibility or respectability, even though we can finish our $100 million extra in research portfolio, until we have an undergraduate product that is of Tier 1 quality. Which doesn't mean everything inside the classroom. It also means outside of the classroom, which means we have to focus on student success. We have to make sure that when we bring in students, that they leave from here acquiring successful skills, but at the same time being successful in life. We have incredibly successful alumni. But our challenge there is what I call a 10 percentage point challenge. Our graduation rate is 42%, which is 10 percentage point below for our kind of demographics. I'm not talking about schools that are residential schools, because residential schools would have 80-90% graduation rate because everybody lives on campus. But for us, we need to be at 52% percentage point. In order to do that, we have to change so many things on campus in terms of a student experience, starting from living learning experience for students. We want to make sure 25% of our students are living on campus. That changes the nature, that changes opportunities and simple messages to students from Houston. You don't have to leave Houston to seek a Tier 1 learning experience. As we raise tuition, which by the way has been 3.95, that is for this year, I want to make sure it's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the state. We want to keep education affordable. At the same time, we do several things which become very important. We have a program where if your family income is $45,000 or less, you pay no tuition at the University of Houston. So when you try to set your tuition, you try to set it benchmarking in the state and in the nation. The reason is we have to recruit our faculty and retain them in the national market. But we want to make sure that the opportunities are there for those who are looking for a different kind of living experience, but also for those who are looking for experience where they can stay home, they can come part-time. So the part-time students, the transfer students, they're all welcome at the University of Houston. We also have what we call incentive to graduate. If you start at the University of Houston and you pledge to continue to progress toward your degree to finish and graduate on time, you will be inflation-free on your tuition. You start whatever tuition you start today, that's exactly the tuition you're going to be paying 4 years down the road. So there are many programs that we put in place to make sure that we are able to support the kind of student services and the student learning that should be there in a university that is the foundation of the city.
Another concern you hear from students is we always just assume U of H is there for us.
Yeah.
As we go toward Tier 1, will the admissions criteria change? Will it be harder for a Houstonian to get into University of Houston?
I think the right question to ask is, we ought to keep the university open for students at whatever point of entry they want to come to the university. We need to see the students are academically prepared to succeed. We need to admit students who are ready for the kind of environment we offer at the university. You may have class of 400 for chemistry. If you think you need a smaller class size, let's say class size of 15 and 18, we have a fine, fabulous institution at downtown. You can start there. I mean, we guarantee a certain level of quality from the entire system. I'm very proud of that university as well, as a chancellor. However, there is a research environment. There is an environment where you have to be self-motivated, self-guided. You have to start writing research papers from the very beginning. And if we do not pair the students right who are academically prepared to succeed, I don't think we do any service to them, because they walk in as freshmen, they're not able to succeed, and they get disillusioned, and they think college is not for me. Well, that's not true. College is for them. We would love to see students go to community college. We have a strong partnership with them. We have put advisors in community college now so that students can see that you start in community college, but you finish at the University of Houston. Our goal is to see more and more degrees and diplomas with UH brand on people's certificates. But you may come as freshmen, you may come transferring from community college, you may come transferring from another four-year institution, or you may come here for graduate education. We welcome part-time students, transfer students, freshman students. It's all about the right match, the right opportunities, because it's all about student success.
Help us understand, because even I get confused, the difference between the UH system and the University of Houston.
Okay.
Seems very elementary considering everything else we've been talking about.
We started out as the University of Houston, and then we grew. In the 1970s, we added 3 more separately accredited independent universities. So the 4 universities that form the University of Houston system are totally independent and separately accredited. They all 4 have presidents. Like for main campus, I'm the president. But then on top of all of the 4, as well as 3 other teaching centers we have, there's a chancellor or the system. As a chancellor, it's my job to guarantee that we have the quality of education that we all can be proud of from the University of Houston system. However, all 4 of them have different missions. They are complementary missions. So if you're looking for a small, conducive, a 15, 20 type classroom size, you might consider University of Houston downtown with fabulous programs, very applied programs. If you think you're looking for a more research environment and you're looking to go to more academic graduate route, you may think about University of Houston main campus. Our University of Houston Clear Lake is a graduate. 42% or 45% of the population is all graduate. That's what we offer there. Victoria, our campus, is a distance education campus. They excel in that.
Tier 1 status for University of Houston affects those other schools how?
Tier 1 is only for the University of Houston's main campus, because that is the research campus, that is a doctoral granting institution. The 7 institutions that are included in the Tier 1 legislation, all of them are emerging research universities with doctoral program. Our other 3 campuses, of course, they benefit too. When you raise the franchise, the brand of the franchise, everybody benefits. They all are very supportive of it, just the same way that the main campus is supportive of where they want to be for their next level of excellence. I want to see, as chancellor, all 4 universities get to their next level of excellence.
How do you know when we have reached Tier 1? I think there's confusion out there how you get to be Tier 1 and how you know you're there.
Right. Well, in a very simple way, there are 3 organizations in the nation who group universities, and anytime you group them, you're tiering them, and whenever any of those organizations put University of Houston in their top group, we would have made it. So that's the very simple thing.
That's what you're watching for.
But from the community's point of view, when you start to see your University of Houston providing a workforce that is competitive, nationally competitive, globally competitive, that meets the needs of the business, I think you can see that you are getting to the Tier 1 university. When you see that University of Houston is bringing nationally competitive levels of federal funds to the local economy, you will know that you've got a Tier 1 university. When you know that University of Houston is closing the gap in educational attainment, you know that you're getting a university that you can be proud of.
For people at home that like to keep scorecards and all of that, how long will this take?
I would like to say about 7 years. I keep saying always 5 to 7 years, and the reason is building that $100 million of research portfolio and getting 10 percentage point increase in graduation rate is not an easy task. When others hear even 5 to 7 year time period, they think it's too aggressive. But I always say, you got to set your goals high, you got to dream big, and you got to push hard. And after that, it will really depend on whether community really wants the University of Houston to be a Tier 1, because it's going to need the entire community to build this university into a greater university.
Well, Dr. Khator, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And now it's up to you. Each week we invite you to visit our home online at HoustonPBS.org. Simply click on the local program bar, pick Houston 8, and you can join our online community. You can read more about our guest, learn more about the topic, share your thoughts and ideas, and even suggest questions we might ask during upcoming episodes. Remember, information posted on our website may be used on air, so keep that in mind when submitting. That does it for us tonight. Until next time, I'm Ernie Manous. Thank you for joining us, and have a great week.